2023. And for those of you who are familiar with the program, this is a program where we discuss the issues of today, and we discuss those issues from a Christian viewpoint. And normally, our host, he will be with us shortly. Um, but we're going to go ahead and get the program started. Then one of the things that you're able to do with this program is that if you have any questions, if you have any comments, you can type them in the question and comment section, and we will read them and discuss them as we, I'm not saying we have any answers, but we will read them and we will discuss them as they come about, right? And so I know one of the things that we're going to be looking at today, situation that's going on in Tennessee in the House of Representatives. All right, and some of you already know that two of the lawmakers were expelled. And it was two young men, and interesting, both named Justin. One is Justin Jones, and the other is Justin Pearson. And they were expelled because um, they demonstrated, in a sense, during the meeting of the representatives, and in relationship to gun legislation. They feel that there needs to be more time viewed in relationship to gun legislation. Um, that there needs to be some hard decisions that are made in relationship to gun legislation, and some of y'all know what's going on in the world today in relationship to. It's almost every day now we're having shootings. We just had another shooting at a bank. All right. And that's not the only those. These are the ones that we hear about because usually several people are killed. And so when we see these shootings, there are people on both sides. Some who are saying that we need to have gun legislation, and some of it, some of it. I think is people have compromised very well by saying that and I'll be honest with you. My personal opinion is that certain guns. Why do we need war guns? And when I say war guns, guns that actually have been and can be used in relationship to a war breaking out, and that's the type of weapon that you would use. Rapid fire, multiple fire. That it's a dangerous. It's a killing machine. It is designed. That weapon is not designed for hunting. Um, it's really, in an honest sense, not even designed for protection. It is designed to kill the enemy. That's what it's designed for. All right. And so we have persons who feel that, okay, we're not going to step on a person's amendment right to own a gun, but do you need to have that gun? There's certain because the problem that they're having with a lot of these shootings is that so many people get killed because so many rounds can be fired in such a short period of time. It's amazing to me that they're bragging now about how quickly the police response was in the case recently where the young lady went into the school. Um, and the bank situation that just happened, they say it was minutes before the police got there. But the problem is this, my brothers and sisters: folk are dead. Folk are dead. All right, because so many bullets can be fired so quickly. So you can get there in a minute, but I can fire 100, 200, 300 rounds or more in that minute that it takes you to get there. So I mean, so what good? What good is that? The only way to stop that is to what? To those weapons. Um, and you know that it's a big debate over that. The debate is so strong now, and things have gotten so I believe out of hand because of the fact that we have persons, you know, what we know in Florida, they now say that you don't even have to have a permit to carry or conceal a weapon. You know, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I personally think, um, given the times that we live in, and that you know, why do you need to carry a concealed weapon? You know, why do you need to carry? Maybe that's why people, when they go into situations, they just begin killing folk because they don't know who might have a gun. So let's just kill everybody. Okay. Um, those of you who want to go around strapping weapons on yourselves openly, um, you know, open carry, as they say. You got to understand if I'm coming in and I'm planning on doing mayhem, and I know you got a gun, you're the first one going down. You need to understand that. But a lot of people believe, well, if people had concealed weapons, um, or people had weapons, that these things wouldn't happen. Um, I think what we're looking at is not only a issue of weaponry, but also an issue of value of human life. You know, I think that's another thing that's going on, that people do not value human life as they ought to. That they feel, but also the right to take people out if that's what they contend, and that's what they want to do. And so you know, again, um, you know, it's a tough one. It is a tough one from my perspective. Again, from my perspective, I don't think we need to. We need to at least not have people should not have access to AK-47, all these major weapons that are not even designed for protection. They are designed for war. All right, they are designed for war. They are designed to take out as many people as you possibly can. That's what they are designed for. So let's be honest about that. And so that, and I honestly believe, and I'd like to hear somebody's perspective on this. I honestly believe that people who got this need to have those type of weapons, they want them primarily because they of January 6th was that a war did not break out. Yeah, that's the blessing for that. Now it's not from lack of trying. From what I understand, they had weapons stashed, but a war didn't break out. You know, that could have been detrimental. Police force could have been under siege. All right, could have been under siege, and probably outgunned the police. Probably outgunned the police because of the fact that people can purchase and have access to military style weapons that are designed to inflict as much casualty as possible. All right. See, I think sometimes we don't think about that part of it. We just think about I have the right, to have access to guns because that's my constitutional right. You know, we can have an argument over why that right was even put forth. You know, my understanding is because initially the United States did not have a standing army, and so in order to be able to come together and fight an enemy, they had to be able to call people together to fight. And so, to make sure that they were armed, they made sure that you had the right to bear arms. All right, because of the fact that, that's how we did. That's how a militia was going to come together. We didn't have to worry about passing out guns, anything. People were already ready for that. Well, our society has changed tremendously. We we have the Army, we have the Navy, we have Marines, we have Air Force, Space Force. We have branches now of military protection. That is God, all right, that are part of the state. So I mean, if somebody was to attack, the United States, we do have the ability to handle that, okay? And at the end of the day, my brothers and sisters, one of the things that, and we can look at it in relationship to the war that's going on in Ukraine. They're not worried so much about hand-to-hand guns. That's not what they're worried about. They need missiles. That's what they're talking about. Because we have gotten to the point now when you come to talk about war and things of that nature, this is not about you shoot at me, I shoot at you. This is about, we blow up major areas. We kill thousands in a blink of an eye, hundreds of thousands in a blink of an eye just by dropping bombs. We got drones. We got all sorts of things that shoot missiles and accurately to the point where they can almost hit a room, a penny in a room. That's how it has gotten to. Have a comment here: weapons of mass destruction. I agree with that. That's what they are. They are weapons of mass destruction. Can you imagine? You're going out to shoot a deer, or no, let's go. You're going squirrel hunting. You hit that squirrel with the AK. You ain't gonna have no squirrel left. You hit a rabbit. You're not gonna have. So if you can't come to me and talk about, well, that's something I like to hunt with. No, don't tell me that. And most people are honest enough to sit back and say, well, no, it's not about hunting. It's about protection. It's about protection. Here's the interesting thing, and you all be very honest with me. How many of you out there have guns? And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be honest. I have a gun. I have several guns. Some of the guns I got because when my father and uncle passed, they came to me. All right. I used to hunt. All right. So I have rifles, I have shotguns, and I have pistols. Okay. Now, I'm gonna be very frank and honest with you. I have never, ever had to use my gun to protect myself. Nobody has ever come up on me, bro. I've never had to do that. Now, does that mean that it might not happen? It might not. I mean, it might happen. I don't know. But in all my years I've had guns, and that's been a lot of years, I've never had to use one. Never been in a situation where I had to use one. And so I would dare say that a lot of people went out and bought a gun for protection. Probably some of them don't even know where it is or haven't cleaned it in so long that if they did fire it, it probably have some problems because of the fact that most of us aren't faced with that. We really aren't faced with that. And the thing of it is, so this whole thing that we need them. Well, see, what happens also with guns, and you again talk to me. Another thing that happens with guns a lot of times is that when you decide that you're going to get a gun, sometimes your ego and your character. What do I mean by that? Well, not blown out of proportion, but you start thinking and you get brave, all right? And so some things that you wouldn't get in trouble because you wouldn't do certain things, now you feel a little brave. And so if you look at a lot of what has happened over the years in relationship to people being shot, particularly citizen to citizen, it has been over where somebody had a gun, and where they normally probably would have walked away, they felt brazen enough to go ahead and do what they want to do. And unfortunately, a lot of times they make stupid mistakes. I mean, the whole thing with Zimmerman and what he did, he did it because he had a gun. Normally, he wouldn't have done anything. And we know it was because of the gun that he did what he did, because basically he probably was scared to death of the young man. All right. Same thing with the Aubrey case. Those guys went after him because they had guns. Where normally they probably would have just called the police and let it go at that. But because they had guns, they felt brave and emboldened, and sometimes that can put you in a situation that you don't need to be in. Because the reality is, shooting somebody and killing them, you can't go back and say, "Ooh, my bad," when you realize that you shouldn't have done that. You can't do that, because once that has happened, that person is gone. You have taken a life that you didn't give, you didn't create, you didn't sustain, but you took it. Gun control and things of that nature. We need to have a reasonable conversation, And so anyway, we got these two Tennessee lawmakers who basically they voiced their opinion in a relationship, and not just them. Here's the thing, and most of y'all know about what happened. It was the two black men. Come on now, Justin Owens and Justin Jones, and they voiced their opinion. There was also a white woman who voiced her opinion. The two black guys were expelled, all right, from the House. They were ousted from the Tennessee House. They were expelled, and the white woman was chastised, but she was not expelled. Wow. They said the reason that the white woman wasn't expelled was because the two men used a megaphone. So the issue then wasn't over their opposition or their outspokenness in relationship to gun control. It was about using the megaphone. I mean, because if the only reason she didn't get expelled, because she also was outraged in relationship to what Tennessee is doing as far as gun control is concerned, she was not expelled, and this is what they said, because she didn't speak into the megaphone. My brothers and sisters, come on now. Come on now. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? I have another theory about why we are where we are right now. I was hoping that Nathaniel would be on by now. But anyway, I have another. I'll go ahead and say it, and I'm going to ask. I know Brother Cox. He's listening in. I know he may have an opinion in relationship to this one. Hold on, let me see here. Okay. I don't see Nathaniel yet. But anyway, here's the thing. I think some people got a little angry over two things. I think some people got a little angry because, first of all, we had a black president for 8 years. I think some people didn't like that. Not only did we have a black president for 8 years, but then we turn around and years, and he wasn't even in the White House at the time. He was gone. But they started taking down statues. They started requiring that states not fly the Confederate flag. So certain things that people were proud of all of a sudden got dismissed and taken away. And I think some folk got very angry about that. Come on. And in their anger, they decided that just like it happened to us, now it's going to happen to you. And so, and it really got incensed when you turned around. All lives matter. Well, then Black Lives Matter. What's the problem? But I think there were some folk who just became very angry and very incensed. And they have made it their mission. They have decided that they're going to go after some things. And they're going to put some people in their minds in their place. If you take something from us, we're going to take something from you. And it's not a matter of whether it's a value, to society as a whole. It's the fact that you took something from you. Okay? And so that when we sit back and we talk about this argument that they're having in relationship to critical race theory, but the reality is some folk really want to just stop talking about things that have anything to do with Black folk, African Americans. All right. Then they guise it and they color it by saying that, and this is just crazy to me. They color it by saying that, no, these rules are really not so much about Black. It's just that certain things shouldn't be taught in the school. And this is more about being gay. No, I don't think so. Again, what we're dealing with, what we're really dealing with is y'all took some of our stuff, we're gonna take some of yours. So that now that you can't sit back and hear this now, because this is reality. You can't sit back and talk about Rosa Parks. Come on. Because that's controversial. I'm waiting for them to come after Martin, because he did come out against the war. I'm waiting for them to, kind of put that out there and then begin to come after him. I'm sure it's coming. But that's what we're dealing with now, my brothers and sisters. That's, I think, what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a situation where there are people who feel that over the years they have been slighted. And so now they want to get it back. They want to get it back. Something interesting that happened the other day. I was listening to somebody and they were talking about what they saw. And they said it's so interesting now that they're spending a lot of time going back to the 50s. You have commercials and TV shows that are going back to times like the 50s and things of that nature. Well, those of you who know your history, you kind of know how society was back during the 50s. Some of you know that when we talk about MAGA, Make America Great Again. Well, what's that about? When was it great? And that could be okay. Nathaniel, there he is. All right. I can see you. Can I hear you?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Have you been listening to what we've been discussing?
Yeah, I have.
I know. I tried to go where you were going to go, and,
Yeah.
and and so in the time that we got left, because what's your take on these brothers being expelled, and now they're trying to bring them back?
Yeah. And I think that you hit it on the head when you're talking about basically you're silencing people based on what you don't want to hear. And so, it's supposed to be an open conversation, kind of what we do here. Um, you have Tennessee lawmakers. You have lawmakers who are over um, the largest rural population, probably one of the more diverse populations, or the more diverse populations in Tennessee. You're looking at the Memphis area. Um, you don't want to hear conversations about things that you don't want to hear about. And so instead of actually having a conversation, you just silence it out. And that's the problem I think that we have on all people. We can't just silence out other folk. We need to hear what their opinions are. Um, and I like what the comment here. I think that some people are stuck with the false narrative of right and wrong, and they cannot determine their heritage from due to the fact that a lot of misinformation passed from generation to generation. Yeah, and you know what? And that's you. I think you're hitting it right there on the head. I think a lot of people they don't know right or wrong, and one of the reasons you can't know right or wrong is because there can't be a discussion about right or wrong. You know, we can't discuss what's right, what's wrong, um, what do we like, what we don't like. We can't even have a discussion. And so when you come to things like the controversial things, gun control, whether it be abortion rights, whether it be just individual civil rights for different groups, we can't even have a discussion about right or wrong because people just get so hyped up. And so what happened in Tennessee, just like what you're saying with this comment, with misinformation going back and forth from generation to generation, because we can't even talk about it, we don't even know what the misinformation is. And so in Tennessee, they don't even want to listen to what these people have to say. You had, two black gentlemen and a white lady, all legislators who decided to we're gonna protest because you're not even discussing uh, gun violence. You're not even discussing some options to change. No one's saying take away all guns or anything like that, but we can't even have a decent discussion. And so that's what happened in Tennessee. But I think so that goes along the lines, especially with this conversation here. We don't even want to talk about history. We don't even want to talk about controversial things that have happened. We don't want to talk about a lot of stuff that's going on. And so if you are misinformed or if somebody is out here just making up stuff and making up stories, you'll never be able to get the truth. You'll never be able to get the full history because people don't want you to be able to talk about it. CRT or just Black history, discrimination. Um, discrimination covers a lot. And so we're sitting back here and we're like, well, in Florida they don't want you to talk about anything. In Tennessee, clearly they don't even want to discuss um, gun violence. And you're talking about the largest cities, representatives who represent the largest cities, the representatives who represent the most diverse areas, the most densely populated areas in Tennessee of Black voters. And their comment was, "You're disenfranchising us so that we can't, like, our vote doesn't matter, our voice doesn't matter by trying to take out our people." And that's just not okay. We got to have that conversation. And so, yeah, um, I think. Hey, back to your comment again, Vince. I think it's amazing what you're saying here. That you know, people don't know their heritage. People don't know where they came from because you know, you from generation to generation, you just don't know, and the misinformation has come down, and they own. Then the way that we generally can get it, we get our information about ourselves is from others in our family and the heritage like that. But if you can't get it that way, you would get it from just an overall understanding of history and maybe being able to go back and kind of seeing where you came from. And if we eliminate the ability for people to get history and see their history or have discussions about history, then we're really going to have people who are lost because they have no way to really know about who they are and where they came from. All right. Well, we're at our time. This was, like to, um, I thought this was a good conversation. Great comments. Uh, Everything that was said before I got here, that was amazing and pretty good. I thought it went right to the point of what was going on. And we just got to, keep our eyes open. As I know people like to say, um, woke is one of them real words, the real divisive words, but we do need to stay awake to what's going on. Like, stay awake to what's going on, in the sense of, stop just ignoring things like they're going to go away, or stop acting like you don't need to pay attention. What happened in Tennessee could happen in Virginia. What happened in Virginia can happen in the next place. What happens in Florida can happen over here. What happens in Texas can happen in the next place. Like, this stuff can happen anywhere, and you need to pay attention. This is not like when we're little kids and we can just hide under the covers and the stuff will go away. No, if we don't pay attention, that stuff that's happening 100 miles away will happen 50 miles away, and then it'll go from 50 miles away to 20 miles away, and the next thing you know, it is happening right where we are. And so, if we don't pay attention, if we don't watch what's happening over there, and if we don't try to influence and affect change over there, then it's going to definitely come here. All right. Well, thank everybody for joining us, for Impact 2023. As always, uh, Thursdays, 7 o'clock, YouTube and Facebook, we have Bible study, and on Thursday Thirst, and on Sundays, YouTube, Facebook, right here at 10 o'clock, we have service. And again, each week, right here at 8 o'clock, we will have Impact 2023. Thank you, everybody, for coming in, and have a good night.